What's up, Colorado? Chris Lopez here. And today's podcast is not our normal podcast about market updates and deals, but this podcast is about recruiting top-notch brokers in the multifamily space for Kaufman Hagan commercial real estate. Now, I do what I always do when I need to find a great person, or in this case, a couple of great people. I reach out to our community. I reach out to professionals and investors around town because you may know someone or you may be looking for a change in where you hang your license at. And we will talk to you what we do here at Kaufman Hagan. Now, a couple months ago, we released episode 326 that launched the brokerage and kind of gave a high-level overview about our values. And I got my same co-host and also partners at the brokerage on the show today. So we got Teal Hagan. Teal, good afternoon.
Hi.
And Brandon Kaufman. Brandon, what's up?
Nothing much. Just working.
Yes, I know. Everyone's been working because this is about 5 months since Kaufman Hagan officially launched in early November. And Teal, it's been a whirlwind, but paint us a little bit of a picture.
Yeah.
What's new?
Yeah. So we moved into this amazing office space downtown. We basically have worked the last 5 months to build the architecture, the infrastructure of the brokerage and get going and stabilized. And now we're stabilized and there's all this momentum. And it's like, okay, what's next? It's time to bring on our team. It's time to bring on our staff. We're ready for them. So that's where we're at.
I mean, it's been growth and momentum because we've got the infrastructure built. And also, Brandon, I mean, you and the brokers, I mean, you guys are crushing it. Give us an update as to what you guys are doing and deals you're slinging.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm most excited about is, I guess, the excitement from the brokers, the confidence, the teamwork. You know, the sales speak for themselves right now, the under contracts, the listings that we have, the deals closed. I think it's touching like 100 million right now with that number. But I mean, just the collaboration and just, I don't know, everyone buying into the, you know, the ideals that we set out from the jump. It's been pretty awesome.
You can feel it. It ruminates. And I like the three of us went to Boulder and sat down and like make a business plan however long ago. And it's like we set out this lofty, what we thought was a lofty goal to get, you know, fees in-house next year. Like it's our first year. Let's see what we can do. And we've already in February closed that much in fees. So I think as it relates to brokers and what they want to see, it's, you know, there are deals flowing through here and we are seeing, you know, we're collaborating and it's like we're creating this team environment and it's like, okay, who are the 2 to 3 special people that we're bringing on to be a part of this now?
Yeah, exactly. And as we go through and talk about the recruiting on here, the way we outline this is we picked 7 topics as we really define what our values are, what we focus on, and we feel like we bring something different to the marketplace for investors and also brokers. So we're going to go through those 7 items and present it as what we've seen as the status quo or industry standards, especially, you know, from your perspective, Brandon, too, with all your experience around town, and talk about how our values and what we're doing in the day-to-day here at Kaufman Hagan are different. So getting to like the first topic, Teal, mentality towards our brokers.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Okay. So really the industry standard is that brokerages see brokers as they're replaceable, right? There's enough of them. And like, if you don't want to do what we need you to do, then we'll fill your seat. And so you're a company man, you're always showing them why you're valuable, how you're valuable. And it's like, this is so backwards, right? So the reality of what a brokerage should be providing is that the brokers are your client. And that is our North Star. What are we bringing? What value are we bringing to the brokers to like service them based on their split, right? And so it's a very simple mentality shift, but it's the decision. It's a litmus test on every single decision we make in the brokerage. And if it serves the brokers, it's like, how are we facilitating them getting deals under contract? How are we facilitating getting deals closed for them on their behalf? Everything else falls into place from there. Other companies might have that on their website, but I don't know that it ruminates through to the brokers.
No.
Yeah.
And Brandon, from your perspective, I mean, you're day-to-day doing deals, leading the brokers as well. Like, how is the mentality here different from where you've been in other shops?
From the top down, it's just a true collaboration. You know, everybody plays a role from the admin side all the way to, you know, the brokers, and then obviously Teal, me, and yourself. And so, you know, everybody is contributing and working towards one common direction. We I think that collaboration word gets thrown around a lot in town, and it's true here. Everyone's moving at the same pace. Everyone's moving in the same direction. Everyone's here for each other. No one's counting fees. We're looking backwards at dollars and more so looking at relationships. And I think everyone's bought in. One thing I'll say just from the admin side is like everybody is so proactive on how they can help brokerages. They're excited about, like what reports can I pull for you? Like, here's what I had an idea. And it's like reports will show up on your desk. Like a call list will show up on your desk. Here's like 5 marketing ideas that we thought of for
this one property.
Yeah. And just like, as a broker, that's like the last thing that's on your mind, when you're up at 10 at night trying to get deals done, get signatures on paper. And it's just when you show up in the morning and that stuff's just all sitting on your desk for you, or you show up to a meeting and like for a week, someone else was thinking about that for you. It makes your job so much easier.
Yeah. Very well said. And kind of moving on to point number 2, which is culture. And culture is important in any business, and especially as we've been, growing Kaufman Hagan, we spent a lot of time really defining culture and, who we want to serve, what type of team we want to attract, because in the long run, quality is much more important than quantity for us here. And that's very reflective in our culture. I think a good also representative of our culture is the office space that's been put together here. It's a very unique office space in general and also for the commercial shop. So when it kind of comes to culture, Brandon, how would you define the culture here at Kaufman Hagan?
I think as a true team, I think just touching on who we would want here, I think we'll kind of answer it. We're not necessarily looking for just $1 million guy and $1 million girl to come in and just close their office door and make calls and get deals done. And it's just a bottom line for us. It's like all ships need to rise with this, with the next 2, 3, 4 people that come. We hired one guy and now everybody else is, better for it.
Right.
And so, the next people that we do hire, we just want them to, fit in with the team, appreciate kind of what's being provided in the sense of, hey, I've never experienced anything like this before. And, this is going to get me from being able to do 15 deals a year to like 35, 40 deals a year, because all I have to do is brokers. All I have to do is work with my brokers and my friends, and just collaborate together. So I think that kind of speaks to the culture we're building here.
It does. And also, like painting everyone a picture about the office space. Like we'll include a video on here and some images, and it's a very cool office space. But I think the office space is, worth 1,000 words from a visual standpoint for exactly what you said. Like paint us a picture on that.
So I think we're creating an environment that you can come in and you can take what you need on every single day. So like, what do you need today? Like, one of my favorite parts of this, I did not see this coming, but the guys play basketball every day. They have a basketball goal at the back of the office. It's basically like a quarter court or a half court. And they, it's not all afternoon. It's just like a 10-minute, I don't even know how the games are structured. They play 10 minutes at a time or something. And it's a way to de-stress. And it takes a lot of energy to do this job. It takes a lot of bandwidth to make cold calls. So it's like, how are you de-stressing from that? How are you stabilizing? Where are you getting this energy from? Or it's just simple stuff like we have all these meals in house that are like, that's done for. This is not something you have to think about in your day. You're literally going to
meals in house. What do you mean?
Yeah, we just stock the fridge with like really healthy, awesome, steak meals or whatever it is. And so it seems simple, but it really provides a lot in a broker's day of like, okay, I want to grind today. I'm going to show up at 10, we've got, Kevin will show up at 10. I don't know what time he leaves, but like, it's so much easier if he
7. Kevin shows up at 7.
Oh, I said 10. It is 7. You're right. Sorry. 10 hours a day is what I meant. Yeah. So it's 7 to 7, 7 to 5, whatever Kevin, but it's one less thing Kevin has to think about.
Yeah.
To, how like the meals are provided or that like there's this camaraderie effect or, I think it's really like you have to come into the office to see it, but it's definitely unique.
And that's part of the thing as we, for people out there, brokers out there interested, like it's very simple. Come have a conversation with us. Teal's and Brandon's contact deals in the show notes. Casual conversation. We got a slide with the details, but come walk the space. Come meet the team. Come meet their brokers because that is worth 1,000 words in my mind. So moving on to kind of like topic number 3, which is support. And support, especially like in a sales type role, support is a word that gets thrown around a lot. But I mean, the more support a salesperson or a broker has, the higher dollar per hour activities they can do. And I know we've been very intentional having a great support staff, great support systems in place. Can you elaborate on that? Because that helps brokers be more productive, do more deals, which is great for everyone.
Yeah, right. It's a constant pain point for brokers. It's just like, this is probably a question for Brandon, because it's like there was one shop that you really hit a glass ceiling on what you could do because you weren't provided much support, or enough support, we should say. And so it's like, coming into this and creating this project, exactly what an elite broker needs to be able to perform and do your 80-20, right? Like 80% of your time is focused on money-making activities. And then the 20% is just like, okay, what do we got to do as brokers that we all,
Right.
It's the left brain, right brain. Like, let's keep all of the details to a staff and let's hire that staff. So we've hired 5 full-time staff. They are individually amazing humans, and they're here for the brokers every day in the office, like, hey, I need the comps for this. Like, hey, by the way, I need the comps for this, so that the brokers really can just think about the SIGs and the things that brokers want to be thinking about.
Yeah. My favorite part of it is everybody on the admin side's been in the industry or is a current broker, has their license, thinks like a broker. I mean, that's the whole thing we pitch on that side of it, is you have to think like a broker. You have to approach this marketing the way, a broker would. We start from the very conception of a deal with admin. Admin's on the very front end of it. So they're with the deal, the whole process. So they know, there's 1,000 square feet in the basement that can be converted to 2 units. Like when they go write that marketing at the end, they remember that, or they understand why was this cap rate different? They understand what cap rates are. They understand value add. They understand construction. And so they're thinking about, it's not the same cookie cutter marketing that a broker is going to have to go in and edit. It's not the same,
Right.
ways to approach contracts. It's very, I think the word is just it's very proactive on that side, I think, and creative.
Yeah.
I think it's important to mention too, specifically John Looker, like you said, he's had his hand in every bit of marketing that's floating around town.
Yeah.
He actually is a very special human
Yeah.
to be a part of this whole thing. And he speaks that language, like you said, like this is
Right. All his design, like you just said, he's done everything in town, and he's quick. He's in-house. So it's like, the turnaround time on anything is it's right then, it's
and
real
then
time
you can
with
deploy.
him.
Right. Yeah.
So you guys kind of led into the next topic here, naturally, just talking about marketing, because obviously marketing properties, marketing the brokers, marketing brokerage are high value and very important activities. And Brandon, I know you've been very, focused on different designs, detail-oriented on, every part of the marketing process. Talk about the marketing we're doing here that's, makes us a little bit different.
I mean, something that we throw out and we really stand behind, for the last 5 months has just been we're here for others. We're here for the brokers. We're here for the admin. We're here for our clients. And so, when we do our marketing, I think everywhere else in town highlights themselves. And I think that's just, you're highlighting your company. Here's our listing. Here's what we've done. Here's what we can do.
Right.
Whereas it's I'm going to highlight this property as best as I possibly can. I'm going to do everything I can for this owner, and create a vision for the next person to build upon. And so everything is to whatever degree individualized, and it does go back to the staff that we have and John and the constant edits and the vibrancy within the office. I think it's just a common thread throughout everything.
Yeah, I totally agree. The OMs and all the details that we're putting out I see differences compared to other shops around town. And also just we're being more creative in the digital ad space. Let's be real. One of the industry standards is commercial brokerage is not up to speed in all the latest marketing trends and internet marketing, to put it politely. But we have done some really cool stuff of highlighting properties on podcasts, my podcast and then real estate channel, doing digital ads to get in front of hundreds of thousands of eyeballs of the right investors in the right parts of the country. We actually have a really cool case study on one of the listings you did at Midtown a while ago, Brandon, that people can go download that, see all the details. We did digital ads, podcasts, outreach, custom OMs, all sorts of really cool stuff. But what highlights it, I remember we launched the campaign like the next day. You took a screenshot of a text message, I think from one of your clients or investors. Right. I can't remember the exact phrase in there, but he mentioned sorcery in the ways you were promoting it. Like, can you paraphrase what he said in the reaction you got from clients?
Just that, no one else is doing it. And what's really cool is in a way it feels effortless on the brokerage, like on the broker side of things, just because of the team. That obviously had a ton to do with you, a ton to do with Cambria, a ton to do with you and everybody, like the team around it. And so, on my end, I'm just receiving like text messages, great feedback, incredible feedback. And it's just like, I guess I did spend like 20 minutes on it, whereas everybody else behind me,
Right.
So
deployed. Yeah.
But that's teamwork. That's the way it goes. You play your
Mm-hmm.
strengths, I play my strength, Cameron to hers, John to hers. Like, that's how we grow and we crush it. And something else on the marketing side is, we are sitting upstairs in the loft at the headquarters in a podcast video studio, which I don't think many other brokerages have an in-house studio in. That's 12 steps up the flight of stairs. We're doing things differently for just looking forward. How can we be proactive? How can we look at things differently in the marketplace and just, hey, we know where the trend's going. Let's be ahead of the trend.
Yeah, or just like improve upon the current model. Like it's kind of my view that there's a lot of room for improvement in this model. It's like, here's your sterile OM, here's your template, right? And like Brandon always talks about this, but it's every single property has its own story to tell. And so it's like, what is that story behind that property? Like that's what an individual who's selling their $9 million, property that they put their life savings in wants to know is like, how are you looking at the specifics of my property and then using that within your team? And it's really just like, from a broker standpoint, like our team is doing that for you. And you're, here to answer questions. You need to understand the property, but
it just gives the broker the ability to just like do the bread and butter, make all the necessary calls so that they're doing their job. Like where you're not falling behind. If you have 5 listings, you still can hit every single listing with the same intent.
Right.
Do the same amount of calls while you have the background to do, all the extra things. And that was the biggest thing for my first switch was just how can I turn 10 deals a year to 50 years, like I just want to be able to handle that. And that's what we're trying to do.
All right, moving on to topic 5 here around leadership and mentorship. And this is one of the things that surprised me as we were, putting together our plans, our programs for growing the business, helping our brokers have success, was just, I feel like a lot of times the lack of mentorship in the space, the lack of leadership. I was very surprised on that. So from your guys' perspective, like, what's the industry standard and what are we doing to help our brokers succeed?
This is probably a better question for Brandon. I'll take a stab at it real quick and then you expand. But basically, like, brokers start a brokerage and then those brokers go off and do deals, right? And so there's a difference that we want to intentionally make here, that like there is a leadership staff here every single day to talk about your deals and grow your business. And I think too, like the mentorship program that you've really masterminded is like, what are your goals? And let us help you be accountable to those goals. But like, you're not answering to us. Like, we're keeping you accountable, but we're not saying like, here's your production, here's what you need to hit. Why are you not hitting it? Where's your report? It's just backwards. And so, this is definitely your lane on mentorship.
Oh, sure. There's great training. Like there's a very specific formula to getting deals done, to, being a good broker. And so there's great training all throughout town, across the country, everywhere. Like a national shop can just train you. Here's what you say on the phones. Here's your rebuttals. Here's, how you approach a listing. And like,
right.
And that's why brokers can be replaceable, because there are those good training programs. But, I think it's more of just like getting in the weeds, like caring about people, caring about like, wanting to build their career with them. And not just seeing them as a dollar figure. I make my money off of brokerage. So I'm in here, we're in here every single day. We're doing deals. We're collaborating with our brokers. They're working on our deals. We're working on their deals. And so it's just, it really is just like every single person towards one common goal, speaking the exact same language. So I think that's the difference. We're in it daily with it rather than just like an implemented training program and then you hit your goals.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, when we sit down with our brokers, we say, hey, what's your 1 year goal? What's your 3 year goal? What's
Right.
your 10 year goal? Like we
Mhm.
want to create that partnership and that
Mhm.
that community where
Mhm.
we can grow long term together. Because I mean, number one, it's more enjoyable for all of us to help people grow and have success. But from a business standpoint too, like it's
Right.
if our long term interests are aligned and we can crank on year one, that compounds in year two, compounds in year three, like we all just do better that way.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that's very unique. And you touched on it, Teal, very unique about our leadership structure is not just like three brokers with, oh, hey, all great brokers, but all the exact same common skill set. Partnerships are great because different people bring different strengths to the table. And all
Mhm.
three of us bring very different strengths to the table where 1+1+1 is not equal to 3, but it's equal to 6 or 9.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Brandon, I mean, you're a top producer around town, but also just like a phenomenal leader for the guys
Nice.
and motivating and training them. Like your office is an open office on the
Right.
floor. I
Yeah.
listen to what you and the guys are doing, and it's just like, wow, like you're just great at it. And the
Appreciate it.
results are in like the broker's attitude, the broker's results. Like it's really cool to watch. Teal, with your experience in doing all sorts of deals, but also being able to kind of go, hey, I can go into deal making mode, help brokers overcome this, whatever problem they have in the contract,
Yeah.
because it always happens,
Yeah.
but also running the brokerage, growing the staff, and making sure that all behind the scenes stuff, we talk about marketing, support, admin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because you're back there like day to day,
Yeah.
making sure all that stuff is getting in place and getting all the systems in place. So it's a really cool, diverse team we have here as well.
Mhm.
I really focus a lot more on the marketing standpoint of things. That's my strength and strong suit.
Mhm.
And one of the things I always like to focus on is just, hey, how can we be different? How can we look ahead? I
Mhm.
mean, how many brokerages have principals that, run a local investing podcast or that have
Right.
like the number one multifamily show on Bigger Pockets? Like it's
Mhm.
just very unique as to all the resources we have here,
Yeah.
which translates into us being able to provide a better value to our brokers, our clients.
Yeah. Right. Like it's the concept of whoever has the attention really wins. And I
Yeah.
think that's a lot that you're bringing the high level marketing of, it's the ability to feature a property and do deal analysis on that so that instead of, the broker can just say like, oh, here's the analysis of that deal, right? In one email with one link, it's very simple.
Mhm.
And they can walk up here and record that podcast. Like that's value, right?
Yeah.
And like who else is getting that out of their split? What other brokers are getting that service, right? Or I don't know. I think it's a mentality too. Like I think a lot of brokerages look at it, broker comes in, wants a job, and then they say they're interviewing, right, for the brokerage, and they're nervous and they got their suit on and they're like, okay, I got to like impress these guys. And it's just like, okay, let's mix that up. We're interviewing you. You have a business that we're interested in providing value to. And if that makes sense and we provide you that value, then it'll make sense throughout. And if you're the right person that fits in the puzzle piece that fits into this larger picture, then this is like our incentives are aligned. Let's be together for 10 years. We'll help you build whatever wealth you want to build.
Yeah. That leads right into topic number 6 is wealth creation.
Yeah.
And that was something that we
It's
identified, as we're kind of going through the business plan and how we can, again, provide really just unique value to our brokers. I think, Brandon, you have a good perspective on here because, I mean, you do a lot of investing in Idaho.
Yeah.
Hey, we're helping our clients, our buyers and sellers go out there and create wealth for themselves. But
Right.
I mean, everyone involved in real estate journey wants to create wealth for themselves as well. So how does like our attitude towards wealth creation differ from like the industry standard out there?
And it's on the forefront of our minds, right? Like we are doing our best work to get fees to put it back into real estate. I think one thing that we really harp on is exploring other markets. Denver, we try to stay away from entirely just to not compete with clients and just really have that attitude that we are 100% here for our clients. I have bought in Denver in the past and it just didn't feel right, and I've sold everything that I have owned in Denver just because, it's like you don't want to bring it up that you bought a good deal or it's just like you've seen it happen. And so I haven't bought a lot here, but it's been more, go find another market, work with everybody, to find those deals. And, we want you to spend time on creating wealth, wealth by buying deals where, I mean, in a way it's discouraged at other places in the sense of like, then your attention's away from brokers, which makes the brokerage money, you know? And so
you need to be focused on that.
Right. And it's like, once again, like, we think it's so important to go buy deals too, because then you understand real estate. You understand what sellers are going through. You don't want to if I own a deal, I don't really want to sell it to somebody or sell it with somebody who has never, swung a hammer on a property or had to do a refinance on their own property or, decide between a sale or not. So, I mean, I think owning real estate also just makes you a better broker too.
Yeah, totally. And that's just a big focus of ours here is that wealth creation, that entrepreneurial spirit, like that just carries through because, again, we want to see everyone succeed. And so last but not least is point number 7. We won't go into details about, like split percentages because in the day, like splits, cost, it doesn't matter. In my mind, it's the value. What value are you getting? And that's everything from, buying something in the grocery store, Amazon, but at the same time, like, brokers are their own businesses. They're independent. They have their own business. And it's really, in my mind, a partnership. But we provide, I think, a lot of value and also have some unique ways on the way we structure splits as well. So I know, Brandon, you've talked about this in the past. Like, how would you describe the way we've kind of structured things to make it a win-win for the brokerage and the broker?
Well, Teal can talk about like how, are the difference in the way our splits change, the more you have production, the baseline splits, everything like that. But I mean, the biggest thing for me is the brokerage only makes money off of what the brokerage deserves on the work that they put out, rather than in a way exploiting a broker to where if they're a $2 million broker, did our brokerage really earn, $800,000 that year based off of what we did?
No.
Like, no. So, we, and Teal can speak to it, but like our splits vary the more you do and, you take home more of the pie, the more you do. So, I mean, she can get into that.
Yeah. The more you make, the more you keep, basically. I mean,
that's simple.
It's pretty simple.
It's an amazing concept, isn't it?
Yeah. It's an annual sliding scale. So it's just basically like, a lot of times a lot of brokers aren't making as much money as they should because they're tied to a brokerage that takes an amount every single time, no matter the deal, no matter the time of the year. But the reality is like we all work on a calendar basis. We all work on a tax year. So once you've paid into the brokerage, why does the brokerage keep exploiting you? It doesn't make sense. I think we do have an amazing split scale, but that's, a conversation for individuals and like how much experience they have and going into that. But a tiered system makes more sense to align the incentive of the broker to crank whenever they've got a tiered split at the end of the year. And they're just like, at that point, paying in very little. And we're just covering their marketing or covering, just basic overhead. But at some point, we just recognize that there's exploitation in the marketplace and that is something that can be improved upon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a great thing to end on is just, the splits, which comes down to the value. I always, when I look at things from a business and investing and consumer standpoint is I don't want necessarily the cheapest. I want the best value for myself. And that's what we do to give our brokers. Hey, what's the best value we can give out? And, hey, we're a great brokerage. You might be a great broker. Doesn't mean we're a great fit for each other. But that's why we're very much focused on, if anything resonates with you on what we've talked about here or mentioned, reach out. It's a very, conversational, casual process. Have a conversation with us. Download our slide deck, get a few more details, download some case studies, high-level conversation. It's all confidential, of course, but then come see the office, come meet the team, come meet the brokers, come shoot some hoops, see if you can beat Brandon in the game, come have some fun and see what the culture is like and get a feel for what value we can provide and see for a great partnership going forward. So all of our contact details are in the show notes. The links to the slide deck, all the resources we talked about are in the show notes as well. And if anyone out there has any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. We love building relationships. We love helping to figure out how we can create a win-win situation. So Teal, thank you. Brandon, thank you. Listeners and viewers, thank you. Hopefully we'll be shooting some hoops with you soon.